We're back to the Neil Haley Show. I'm excited to welcome program my co-host, Paul Hollis, author of the Hollow Man series, Hollow Man Publishing, and American Made VA. Paul, how are you? And I know you're excited about our guest.
Always excited about Bill. We have Bill Nelson with us today, and he's a new author that you all should really read about and read his book. It's called Blood and Fire, Murder and Deceit at Osprey Point. Did I get that right?
Murder
Sorry,
and
Bill.
betrayal at Osprey Point. Yeah,
Yeah, or betrayal.
yeah.
Awesome. Bill, thanks for stopping by. Let's talk about one of your characters. Who do you want to talk about today?
I think the protagonist is Will Sorensen. He has an oldest son who's his middle child named Keith Sorensen, and Keith is um, an ex-Green Beret, spent a better part of a decade in the global war on terror in Afghanistan, served with a lot of distinction, a lot of time in combat. With the war winding down, he decides that he's done with that chapter of his life, and he really wants to just go home and settle down and get his dad to help him start a sport fishing charter business, and so all that's going according to plan. He winds up back at home and he's getting settled into his new business when all hell breaks loose with regard to the conflict that the family winds up in with the Gulf cartel. And now he finds himself in a situation where, he was comfortable with the idea of having his wartime life in the rearview mirror and settling down and starting a new chapter. And now he's kind of forced into this role of helping his father protect the family, and he's actually going through a fair amount of confusion and bewilderment about making a conscious decision to walk away from war only to go home and find more war.
That's crazy because so he's learning a lot specifically about things, this character, going through a life-changing process and really understanding days of war to back home then, right?
Yeah, he's not sure which gear he should be in.
In that gear. And so how do you develop that character? Is that character based on people you know?
It is based on people I know. I've known in my own family, I've had a number of GWAT veterans, and I've also have some friends and children of friends who served in Iraq and Afghanistan in the last 20 years. And it's partly based on having their experiences be visible to me. And then, obviously trying to co-opt some of that, some of those ideas into the story, so that it works for the story of the book.
And do you think this character in this process really gets to know himself more throughout this book?
I think the inverse is true. I think he starts to question himself more, or where he's not really sure exactly who he is or who he thought he was. And I think he is struggling with this, giving into this notion that war is all there is. Like that he can't go anywhere and find peace.
Wow, it's just like very, very interesting. And do you hope this character will continue throughout your series?
Oh, he definitely will. Yeah, he'll be an important fixture in the series, as will the protagonist and the protagonist's other two children. They're all going to be, the four Sorensens, if you will, are all going to be really uh, important gears in the story machine.
When you think of the Sorensens, we talked about this before. These guys don't make the right decisions when you're dealing with the cartel and stuff. And that's the biggest problem. They're not a cohesive unit. And it looks like the character you're talking about is not figuring himself out. So how can he be a cohesive family? That's the missing component. They're really not a cohesive family, are they?
Well, I think they are under normal circumstances, but the circumstances they find themselves in is not normal. And so, the problem is when you run afoul of one of the cartels, and this is not the book, this is actually real life. When you run afoul of one of the cartels, you can't go down to the local police station and complain about it. You can't file an injunction or a restraining order, because if they decide that you're a liability and they need to liquidate you, they already have all the local police on payroll. They're already set up here in America operating. And so you're kind of on your own, right? And then you have to decide, am I just going to try to be still and quiet and hope it goes away? Or am I going to be more proactive? And so, the protagonist of the story, Will Sorensen, he errs on the side of, I don't think it's a good idea to just pretend like it didn't happen and pretend like it's going to go away. These people are already here. They're going to be back. The problem's going to get worse. So he decides that to err on the side of being proactive is in the best interest of his family.
All right. Best place people can check out your book is go to Amazon, right?
Yeah, right now. Is there any update on Barnes and Noble?
Paul, any news on Barnes and Noble?
No, I was expecting them to have that out there already, but let me check for you today, right now.
All right. So Paul's checking that. Appreciate it, Bill. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll talk soon.
Yes, Amazon.com.
All right.
Blood and Fire, Murder and Betrayal at Osprey Point.
Awesome. You're listening and watching the Neil Haley Show, and we'll be back in just a moment.